This is the Agency Avatar Blueprint, a document that I created in order to help you to craft your ideal client profile. That's exactly what this guide is for, and we're going to walk through it together. Honestly, when you first start your agency, it's extremely difficult because there's so many different directions that you can go, so many niches that you can work in. But once you dial in your ideal client profile, your avatar, then you're able to craft your offer and you're able to have those conversations with those business owners. And then, of course, that leads to you selling your service. But it all comes down to being laser focused and figuring out what their wants and needs are, where they hang out, all those different things. That's exactly what this guide is for. So let's get started. We're going to walk through it together. So here, go to the next page. So this is a client-centric marketing. Client-centric marketing is focusing everything upon the client themselves, tailoring your whole experience to their wants, desires, taking into account their aspirations, any challenges that they're facing, so that ultimately it creates a brand loyalty. And that's what you want to do. You want to be the go-to guy in your niche for your service. And that begins with crafting everything around the client themselves. So let's go down here. There's some key terms that you'll need to know when you're going through this. And demographic information, that includes age, gender, location, their income, because this gives a snapshot, a picture of the kind of people that you're trying to reach. If you're an agency that wants to work with a luxury car brand or something like that, your ideal client is likely to be within a high income range. They're likely to be within the career age, which will be like 35 to 50, and they probably live in upscale neighborhoods or something like that, holding executive positions or manager level positions. And so you'll want to take in all of that into consideration in the demographic information. Then, of course, you want to take into account the background and lifestyle. So this is all of their personal history, so their story. You want to understand like where they came from, how they got to where they are. This can be their hobbies, obviously their career, but this goes into more of their background into their actual daily lives. You want to be able to connect with them on a personal level. And so if you're a marketing agency that's maybe working with like a travel agency or something like that, you'll want to figure out your ideal clients as far as like the kind of jobs that they work, the kind of travel experiences that they enjoy in order to take a break from their daily routines. And so that's just a couple things to look into. And so the next thing is the psychographic details. Basically, this is the internal motivations that they have, maybe their attitudes, what are their values, their beliefs, those sorts of things. How do they view the world? And you'll want to build your experience and your conversations around this. This is what's going to move the needle for them emotionally. Whenever you're describing your service and how it's going to impact their lives, this is the information that you need to know in order to make help them to move into the buying stage and to say yes ultimately to your service. And then of course there's consumer behavior. So you'll want to know what brands they use. You'll want to know what products they use on a regular basis. Do they shop online? Do they shop in a brick and mortar store? Do they use discount codes? Those sorts of things are important so that whenever you're building your offer, you know exactly what behaviors to expect from your ideal client. And of course, their online presence. So, If they're using all of these different digital platforms and you're on the wrong ones, you're never going to find them and they're not going to find you. And so making sure that you know what social media platforms they use, what forums, are they on Reddit? Do they read Medium? What websites do they go to? And so if you're like in this example here, it says if you're working with a tech gadget manufacturer, are you going to go to what tech review websites do you think that your ideal client frequents or reads from? Which websites do you think that hold authority, so that whenever you're advertising on there, that ultimately that builds that rapport with your ideal client, so that they inquire about the service or whatever product that you're trying to sell. It's just an example. Next page here. So challenges and pain points. This is going to be one of the most important things whenever you're going through a sales call with a potential client. You'll want to know what frustrations, what obstacles that they're facing in their business, so that you can offer a solution to that issue. For our own clients, maybe it's I'm not getting enough business, I'm not getting enough customers, or I'm brand new, I don't know where to start. Well, we have solutions to those problems, and I bring them through all of our services, and I specifically highlight the ones that actually solve those problems. So their goals and aspirations. So when you're on a sales call and a client mentions, well, I'm working a 9 to 5 and this is a side job and it's going okay, but I want it to be my main focus, so that I can have the freedom to spend time with my family or do the things that I want to do. Those are the goals and aspirations. Oftentimes we'll ask our clients, where do you want to be this time next year? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Why do you do what you do? And it's really draws out an emotional response, and you can kind of tap into that, especially when there's objections to things like price and stuff like that. You'll say, look, you said that you have this particular goal in mind. This is how we're going to bring you from point A to point B, crossing the finish line and reaching that goal. And if you really want it, this is the price that it will take to reach it. And so you just remind them of the goals that they have and the aspirations that they have, and it taps into that emotional side, but also the logical side. They begin to see, if I want to get to here, I have to do X, Y, Z. And so you tap into what their goals are, and it can really move the needle on calls with clients. Of course, media and entertainment. So what kind of books do they read? What kind of movies do they watch? What kind of shows do they watch? All those different things. And that helps you to be able to, whenever you create content, especially if you're going to run ads for your own agency or for somebody else, you know exactly what captures the attention of your target audience. And so the communication preferences is another thing that you need to know. Do they use email? Not everybody does anymore, even though there is more of a resurgence of email use in especially when doing like cold outreach and those sorts of things, which we can talk about in future courses. But do they prefer to speak on phone calls, text messaging, whatever it is? How to tailor your methods to actually reach your target audience. And then, of course, purchase triggers. What is it that factors into buying decisions? And so in the example I give in the guide, a marketing agency partnering with a luxury jewelry brand might determine that their ideal customers are often motivated to purchase by special occasions, such as anniversaries and birthdays. So what can you do? You can develop a campaign that capitalizes on those moments. Maybe it's sending an email to them on their birthday and say, or the birthday of a loved one or whoever, let's say it's their birthday, and you say, check out this beautiful diamond necklace. We have an offer of X amount off in our store. this can be yours today, whatever it is. Obviously that's a terrible example, but then what it is they go and bring that to their loved one, their husband, their wife, and say, I really want this necklace, and so this is the offer that I got. That was the purchase trigger. Or maybe in a similar example, it's an anniversary. You say, get your special someone a new diamond or whatever. But knowing these special occasions or whatever it is, that's their purchase trigger, and so you'll be able to tap into that and help them move into that buying position. Okay, and this is an example. So I went through and I crafted an entire fictional avatar for you to see, and I call this guy Joseph Miller. Okay, and he is in the e-commerce industry. He lives in Los Angeles. He's single, no children. His income range, his hobbies, so kayaking, motocross. His interests are music, travel, and sports. But he's very curious. He loves diverse cultures. He likes to experience new things. And so it's important for an agency owner to tailor that experience in that way so that you can tap into that logical and emotional level by creating that engagement. So if he's loves to talk with like-minded individuals, people that are have a zeal for life like he does, then you'll want to match that energy. And here are the psychographic details. I have some different questions that you can consider whenever you're going through this avatar crafting stage. And it's, what are the values and beliefs? Well, he has personal growth and a work-life balance. He likes to experience things. He doesn't want to work 24/7. He wants to actually experience life and do things. He wants to be able to step away from the company and allow it to run without him. Okay, that's definitely something to think about. So if you're offering automations in your marketing agency, that'll allow him to do that. What are some pain points and challenges? He's too involved in the company to enjoy what he loves the most. So if he wants to be away more and he's spending too much time working, well, again, you have a solution to that. What are the fears and frustrations? Maybe he has a fear of making a bad investment and something that can set him back. So you have to understand that maybe there'll be some price objections that you have to overcome. You have to have answers to those questions. What are desires and motivations? Well, his core desire is to experience financial freedom. He's motivated by growth and new experiences. Well, that's whenever you can point to, he has a price objection. You say, look, if you want to grow, if you want to be able to be out of the office more, you want to be able to go on these trips and experience these new things, this is what you're going to have to do in order to get there. And so you walk them through from point A to point B, show Joseph what it takes to actually get there, and this will retrain his mindset to be willing to spend the money to work with you. After you show him the results, after you overcome those fears and frustrations, and you kind of tap into those goals and aspirations, those sorts of things, then you can walk him through that process and he'll be much more likely to buy. But you'll see all these different things. So the consumer behavior, what are all the different things, online presence. I answer all these things. You can go through them and kind of see how detailed I get. And this will help you to be able to craft your offer so that you can really, if Joseph was your ideal client, that you'd be able to sell him time and time again. And so I have the next page here. It's totally blank, and you can kind of print it out. You can cut and paste your own picture, whatever, and you can fill out the information yourself. So once you figure out what industry you want to work in and what service you want to offer, this is where you're going to want to figure out who your ideal client is. And these are the questions you need to ask so that you can actually do that. Well, that's it for today. I know I ramble a lot, but I think this is extremely important, and I hope that it's helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're always available. But otherwise, have a good rest of your day. Stay awesome and get to work.